Hello and welcome to the second official VGN podcast. I am Nads, your fantastic cynical Brit, and with me is lovely Brit.
Dewey.
Nads and Dewey. Together again.
Yes.
Dew Nads.
For one more song.
We're singing you out tonight with a very, very, very late second podcast. There was supposed to be more in between, but there were technical issues, shall we say.
Distance issues, most likely?
Distance, technical... Let's say we share the blame.
These issues are no more, however.
For the time being. Anyway.
No more.
Anyway.
Positive.
We've picked a fairly good time to come back, what with E3 just going down?
Yeah. Wow.
What
a barrage of stuff.
It's
Brilliant.
like going back in time to the Nintendo Sega days. It's no longer just a case of we've got these third-party games, you've got these third-party games. Now it feels like they're actually killing each other again.
Yes. The blood is out in this one.
We've retreated.
Though.
We went from Battle Royale to Pokemon battles, and now we've gone back to them sort of, hitting each other with machetes.
Yeah, like, no, we've got this, you haven't. Like playground bullying sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's good, it's good.
Like being a politician.
It's sort of healthy for it and such. It gives us a reason to fight and argue our case, and what is a game about passionate?
Well, we'll delve into the fact that, the competition's sort of dumbed down a bit and later on in the podcast. But obviously, E3's gone down. Completely forgot. Disclaimer, everything we say is an opinion, alright? Not news. If I say that the head of EA had sex with a horse, he didn't. That's just my opinion.
He would say nay.
He definitely did, though. Honest, I've got the pictures to prove it.
Yeah, opinions. We'll try and keep it PG against EA, because I've grown to love them recently. I've grown to love them.
You're like an abused spouse. You keep coming back for more no matter how much they hurt you.
It's Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah. It was my fault he hit me. Anyway, E3. All the big companies had their moments.
Well,
Nintendo weren't even there, though.
Yeah, Nintendo decided to do what the future has decided and just feature online things, which, to be honest, is decent enough. I mean, we weren't lucky enough to go there this year, so we didn't feel it.
The future, in inverted commas, is something of a questionable issue with this year's E3, shall we say.
Yeah. I mean, it was weird that it was Nintendo that decided to pull out of the physical format.
Nintendo did no physical presentation. Reggie did not get on stage and embarrass himself playing Wii Sports.
But Miyamoto was there, playing stuff in the lobby with
Well,
other
he's
reports.
naturally drawn to it like a bee to pollen. He can't.
And I'm naturally drawn to him.
You heard it first. The editor of Video Games Network wants to have sex with Shigeru Miyamoto.
Whoa! No, I would just bathe petals in wherever he walked. Respect the man, wouldn't
I was sure you were going to say you would bathe him in a bath. Anyway, yeah, they did not have a presentation. They did a Nintendo Direct video just before the show started, and
yes, they did.
It was like a Nintendo E3 conference. Basically,
it was brilliant, full of fun games, classic Nintendo style, but it just missed the big Zelda.
Well, a lot of people were hedging on, the Wii U admittedly isn't, riding sky high at present.
Well, I'd say it's ahead in the war, but that's because the other two aren't even out yet.
That's not a victory at all. Anyway, what it needed is either some cracking first-party games and a hell of a lot of third-party support.
Yes.
We got the cracking... Excuse me? We got the cracking third-party game... Well, we got the cracking first-party games.
I'm keeping all that in. You know I'm keeping all that in.
Note to self, don't drink during the next podcast. Anyway, we got the cracking first-party games. We got the Mario Kart.
Yes.
We got the...
Mario game.
We got the Mario... Basically, we got the Mario.
Yeah. Mario, woo.
And the Pikmin and all the good stuff.
Pikmin 3. Oh.
What we didn't necessarily get was the Titanfalls and the
Yeah.
Final Fantasies and things like that.
Got a Final Fantasy game on the Wii U, but it's a Final Fantasy game in general. Doesn't matter where it goes.
Well, the question really is: can Nintendo survive off first party alone? Without the huge casual audience they had with the Wii.
No. Well, yeah.
They can survive.
Yeah, definitely.
They can't win.
They can survive, but third parties that are sort of trying to hedge the bets on we are the ones that are going to suffer for it. Because Nintendo make money off Wii that they sell. Nintendo make money off the games that they sell. On a Wii, only their games will sell.
Is this a good thing, though? The Wii, cracking Nintendo support.
Yep.
If you listed the top 10 games on the Wii, at least 7, what roughly would be Nintendo games?
Yeah,
Would I guess? Well, that's a very rough guesstimate. Okay. Again, this is an opinion show.
Yeah.
This time round, are there any third-party titles that have made that much of a splash?
I was hoping there was a Wall Street one then in which we could use that pun. Damn it!
Well, Batman and things appeared on it to good reviews, but they're already on existing systems. So
But
it's not
that's what
really
the Wii kind of needs. The only unfortunate position. It's just it's in a weird thing. People go for the so mature games. They go for Xbox. They go for PlayStation. It's because it's commonplace for them to be there. For the Wii, these games are just coming first place to that. So trying to say to someone, "Oh, come on, look, Wii U's got mature games as well. Why don't you get a Wii U instead of an Xbox One?" They're kind of going to go, "Well, there's more on Xbox One. We've got the mature exclusives as well as."
They need to make the Wii U like the Wii was, something you can have as well, a complement system,
Yeah,
as it were.
yeah.
If they do that, great. Did that E3 persuade you that they could do that?
Not as such, but it still persuaded me that Nintendo make absolutely fantastic games.
It feels like the GameCube. GameCube was not fantastic sales-wise, third place, definitely.
I think as well
But I loved the GameCube. I loved it so much.
The games, like I said, the games itself, but you got to look at the bigger picture when it's trying to sell itself to families and small,
Well, another thing is, does Nintendo need to?
Yeah, well, if you look at how successful the Wii was because it captured that casual gamer, and
but that happened once. That's not going to happen again. There's not going to be another wave of casual
well, that's it.
gamers.
Nintendo kind of missed the bullet with that one because they had the perfect opportunity to say, "Hey, look, the Wii U's just as good,"
Well,
but
that's the
everyone
thing.
just thought it was a Wii
That's
add-on.
the question. Do they need to? I mean, they've got all the money in the bank now. Can they just go back to what they were doing before and just fob into hardcore Nintendo fans?
No, because I remember the GameCube times with Nintendo. It was very struggling,
It wasn't though, because the Game Boy was selling billions
Oh, well,
billions
yeah,
of units.
but
Nintendo wasn't struggling at all.
It did make a lot of fans sort of go, well, why don't Nintendo just stick to handheld? And we know that they can make cracking console games.
True. Well,
There's some stuff you just can't play on a bus.
I think I call this year's E3 for Nintendo unexceptional, which is a shame.
Yeah, but
It needed to be exceptional.
not terrible either.
Well, no, it's like
It was just,
it was very
good games.
Yes, very
nothing much more. But
Nintendo
isn't that what
did-
Nintendo's good for?
Nintendo did what
games?
Nintendo do best. End of. Everyone hoped for something special, but we got a pretty good.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, the Wii U's already amazing. piece of kit
Probably
anyway.
a B at best. You know, it's good. It's not amazing. It's
Yeah,
adequate.
I'd agree with that.
And well, you know, the Nintendo one's going to be a short one anyway because there wasn't really any big announcements to be had.
Well, that's it. The console's already out there. The games are slowly coming. They're going to try and push it a bit more because they even admit themselves that third party and first party are lacking in terms of a flowing release pattern. It tends to be very scattered at
They
the
jumped
moment.
out to it. They jumped the gun, didn't they?
Well, yeah, they tried to because they realise that the PS2 came out first. That jumped the gun. That was a massive seller, and the Wii didn't come out first. Actually, did it? Is it 360?
think the problem is the new cycle hasn't really started yet.
Yes.
So Nintendo feel a bit lost.
Yes, because that's it. The Wii U is only just. I mean, a lot of people are saying it's on par with the PS3 and the Xbox 360. So, if anything, they're a generation behind.
They tried to make their own generation basically, and it's
Well,
not,
the weird thing is they managed to with Wii.
but it's
SD graphics, but sold
not really managed
absolutely
this
bucket
time.
loads. Yeah, I mean they've got the HD now. Everyone's got a HD telly. Ultra HD's coming. Xbox One and PS4 have support for it. Wii U obviously doesn't.
Let's wait and see how that goes. Remember the 3D revolution we were promised?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Anyway, yes, Nintendo was bound to be short because it was a fairly unexceptional E3. So it's on to Microsoft.
Yeah.
Swycrosoft, as I was about to say. Microsoft. Bill Gates' boy.
Well.
And it was... okay, third disclaimer in a row. This is an opinion show.
These are mainly Nad's opinions, as I rather... Well, I didn't hate the conference. I just thought it was, good. a lot of things annoyed me with the lack of actual gameplay footage. A lot of it seemed to be 30-second CGIs. I was like,
You remember earlier in this podcast when I said that Dewey here has Stockholm Syndrome and likes going back to the abuser? Yeah, that's pretty much what we're seeing. The conference was very unremarkable as far as games went. We saw Titanfall, which is Call of Duty with mechs.
but it looks awesome.
But it's Call of Duty with mechs. It's not the next-gen leap everyone wanted.
If it's not broke, don't fix it.
We
Just give it mechs.
We saw Forza 5, which could probably be an Xbox 360 game, to be honest. Apart from its promised extra...
Driver car. Oh. As cool as that concept was, the name was terrible. I just
the name
felt
was
like punching
terrible,
the
and
man in the face.
I still do not understand the concept of here's a game that rewards you for not playing it.
But the really cool concept is, here's a game where you can play your friends online without them having to be online. I mean, the fact that it adapts and learns from you is very scary, because one day your Xbox is going to jump out the window and bomb your house.
Well, why do you think it's got an eye on it? So it can watch you?
Don't creep me out, man. Those films, man. There's too many of those films out there. Yeah, but a very, very... I think that concept is really good. It's next generation. It's, you know what? It stores all your sort of decisions on the cloud. And
Which
then...
I find creepy. I don't find that to be inspiring at all.
Well, they're doing something. They're not just saying, here's a new racer with better graphics and a bouncing, dog head thing in the rearview mirror.
But the point is, that served console gaming well from, like, the NES onwards. It's just, here's an improved version of what there was before.
Well, remember when Kinect came out, you said you could actually drive it with your hands.
Well, yeah, but that turned out to be a lie!
They're all trying new stuff. I always give people credit for trying. And I think this Forza thing is going to be cool. I can't wait to just...
Let's give a more straight rundown of what we saw.
Yeah,
Microsoft's
rather than just jumping on games.
Yeah, we saw... Well, they came out and promised us all the lovely new things that the Xbox One would give us. So it was things like cloud gaming. Basically everything was digital, no matter if you bought it disc or not. It was a digital game.
Yeah.
It was a TV for no particular reason.
TV.
Yeah.
That YouTube video was awesome.
It was a fancy smart TV. The problem with that concept is, if you wanted to watch Sky in it, you had to buy a Skybox anyway. So it wasn't really cutting.
Well, I don't even think that. I think here in the UK, that concept doesn't even work because it only works for certain American TV studios. Whereas in the UK, you kind of got like, you'd have to say Xbox Sky Channel 775. Or,
presumably they had a deal down with Sky or someone, because that's what happened on the Xbox 360.
Well, yeah, it's all about Netflix now and all that kind of thing, and getting your shows on demand anyway.
But the point is, it didn't do anything that you couldn't do just by hooking your TV up to TV cable. That's
a good thing. I'd like to see how many people would actually normally change channel from Xbox to Sky, or the people that just use Netflix through their Xbox already.
I think it's solving a problem that doesn't exist. I've never gone, oh god, I've just finished playing the Xbox, now I'd like to watch Sky. Oh, if only I didn't have to pick up the remote control and press the button to change the
Well, that's it. I mean, I'm playing a game, but I really want to watch EastEnders. Oh, iPlayer. We've already got.
I've never felt an urge to watch EastEnders, and I don't think I ever will.
What about Phil Mitchell? What a lad.
You're just saying that because you resemble him, you big muscled bald stallion.
I'm not really involved though, but... Maybe for charity one day. I think everyone else does it. What, Jessie J?
So that's Stockholm Syndrome and delusion we're experiencing now. Anyway, so yeah, we were promised all that. Then the games got trotted out, which was Titanfall is now the first game is an exclusive to Xbox and Windows, I think.
I believe so.
The first game in the series. So basically they've snagged exclusive rights to the first
Is
game.
it the first one? So about 6 months later when they do Titanfall Ops 2.
That will be on anything.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Similar to what they had with Mass Effect for a while.
Yeah. I mean, it's good.
It's good. I'm a bit worried that the developers were saying how great their cloud AI would be.
Mind you, AI has gotten incredibly cool.
It has,
this past
but
generation.
that's the problem.
It's improved massively.
That's the problem. It's improved massively. You don't want the AI to stream over the internet, because if it's trying to react to you when your connection's slow, it's going to be about 5 minutes behind you.
If your connection's slow, you screw with the Xbox One anyway, because you won't be able to play anything at all.
Well, that is true.
From what we saw.
That's circumstances have changed.
Yes.
Anyway, at the time, I was dubious of it.
Yeah, very.
Even if you have a stable connection, AI is something that's too immediate to require cloud.
Well, that's a good point. You could have gone in there, shot them all, and they would have reacted to that. Oh, there's a man in the room.
If you were to use cloud for... Cloud could work for some things. Background and examples, draw distance. That makes sense.
Or maybe even
loading
preloading.
Yes, preloading. That would make sense for the
Yeah,
cloud.
yeah, definitely.
AI doesn't.
Yeah, anything
at
that's
all.
immediately in the game. Plus,
If you were doing it for physics or AI, it wouldn't. It's not sensible.
yeah, you won't want to delay on those kind of processes because they're immediate things.
But nonetheless, it looks like a very nice game because it's giant mechs beating the snot out of each
Yeah.
other with Call of Duty style shooting.
And that again is something I actually quite like. They didn't focus this E3 on saying, "Look at our graphics, whoa, power." They all went, "Look at our smart games we have."
I can't get the image out of my head now of the man who runs Microsoft bent down on the floor going, "Power, unlimited power."
Yeah,
But we all know he does that anyway because
one game I'm definitely going to bring up, Project Spark.
the creation game, as it were,
Yes,
sort of taking Little Big Planet to its logical conclusion.
exactly. And as any fan of the gamers most likely were, you're also interested in the creation of games as well. Just wanted to dive into the mind of a developer and
Project
say,
Spark is essentially create your own game. You can use a smart glass to draw things. You can
well, 800 quid tablet to draw things.
you can use a very expensive piece of software to draw things.
Yeah, but I don't think it's necessary for it.
It's
But
not
it
necessary,
enhances
but
the creativity. That
they're
you're able to do.
hedging the bets on it
Yeah.
being used. It looks perfectly fine, but the problem I have is the same I had with Little Big Planet and the creation games. Everyone's just going to create a level that looks like a giant penis.
And that's a bad thing. No, people are going to create absolute brilliant homages to the game. I remember seeing a YouTube video of someone creating the whole Final Fantasy VII in Little Big Planet, which was absolutely
The
outstanding.
problem is, like YouTube, you're going to have to sift through a lot of bad stuff to find the good stuff.
Well, it's already crammed full of this generation. I mean, it's going to become more prevalent now that 12-year-olds will be able to stream their stuff. But it also has that extra element that you can do that kind of thing.
Well, I'm sure Project Spark will be interesting, to say the least.
Definitely.
To see where
The
this
community
experiment
involvement as well, where he said, okay, I got his brain from the community. I mean...
That's impressive.
Definitely. And it has got a lot of potential, that game. Definitely. a lot of
Potential is a loaded word these days, but anyway,
Yeah. but
that was something original, something
that
fresh.
was my one shining star of that conference, was Project Spark.
Yes, it was a great way of saying we can't be bothered developing games, so now you can develop them for us.
But here's the
Cynicism,
tools.
cynicism.
Here's the tools.
And then, the pain, the suffering, Dead Rising 3.
Why? Why did they have to ruin something that was beautiful?
You know how with Resident Evil they scooped out all this campiness and the fun and the silliness and the...
Resident Evil wasn't silly
It
or
was
fun.
Have you ever sat through Resident Evil? It's
As
ridiculous.
a kid, I was terrified. I
Gee,
remember-
Jill, you almost became a Jill sandwich. It was camp, it was stupid, ridiculous.
the
colourful
script was,
daftness.
but the actual action, those
Well,
times.
whatever. The point is, they said, I know what we need to do. Let's make that more like the Call of Duty people like. And it bombed.
Yeah.
They spent so much money building it, they barely made back a penny. So the logical conclusion for Dead Rising 3, a game where you run around in a pink dress hitting zombies with bowling balls, was
Yep.
let's make it more like Call of Duty.
Well, not even that. Let's turn it into all these other survival horror games that are. They're basically trying to follow the trend, but Dead Rising isn't about following the trend. It's about making its own trend.
Dead Rising was the reason I bought an Xbox 360, I'm going to be honest. I saw that and thought, that looks great.
Yeah.
You run around a shopping mall beating zombies to death with golf
Well, you like
clubs.
zombies as it is, but
I loved
the whole
zombies before
humorous
that.
sense of it.
Exactly. It
Added
was
something
Dead
special.
Rising with a dash of Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
Now it's just The Walking Dead. And
Exactly.
The Walking Dead's been done better.
We've already had a Walking Dead.
Hmm.
We've got the Warzy, Daisy, the add-on, another add-on, Daisy standalone game. I don't know. There's that many
It's-
zombie survival ones now as well.
It's... I will say, getting rid of the loading times, best decision ever.
Yeah.
The one thing that held
System
down...
one, yeah.
Dead Rising would have been a flawless game if not for the bleeding loading times. Thank God they got rid of that. Did they have to scoop out... Did they have to lobotomise the game to do that though?
I think they just said, right, let's get rid of all this fun. Let's just make it into The Walking Dead.
Fun? Gamers don't want fun.
Yeah. What other games do we have on the
Well,
Xbox?
Forza was very boldly announced with the appearance of a real car on the stage. I'm not sure what the point of that was.
I think it was them just getting pally with McLaren. I mean, fair enough, it was a beautiful car, but
It was a beautiful car,
wrong
but
place.
you're never going to own that car. It was a way of saying, look at this beautiful car. You'll never own this car,
you'll
but
own
here's
it.
a pretend car.
It's a pixelated version for you.
Yes, here's an imaginary car for you paupers. I think that was a bit of a mistake, to be honest.
I think it was them trying to be razzle-dazzle about it, but... No.
If they wanted to be truly razzle-dazzle, they'd have had Jeremy Clarkson come on stage and go, I really like this car. I'm going to have sex with it. Jeremy Clarkson, if you're looking to sue us, you can write to...
No, I like him.
I like James May better.
Oh no, because
You see the battle lines in our office? I've got a framed photograph of James May as Jesus, and Dewey has Jeremy Clarkson.
And Richard Hammond and James May. I love everyone of Top Gear.
You just have too much love for the world.
I
This
do,
is why you
I do.
forgave Microsoft. Anyway, the elephant in the room was Microsoft did not mention anything to do with their DRM.
Yes.
They kept very, very quiet about it, and
Yeah.
for very good reason.
For the same reasons that Sony then pounced upon.
Well, given that we've been away for a while, we should point out that a few weeks before E3, Microsoft had already shown off the Xbox One.
Oh yeah,
And
they
had
did.
failed to... Why they waited a couple of
I
weeks
thought they
before?
showed off a new telly.
Well, yeah, it wasn't really a games console announcement. It was an
Yeah.
announcement that you could watch TV and sports.
It just seemed like a total
It was an announcement
showcase
you
to
could
the...
watch American TV and American sports. It was not for the global market.
No. It wasn't for the gamers either. You're going to put something online, guess who's going to watch it?
The question is, though, why did they bother doing that a couple of weeks before E3? Why didn't they just wait and have a whammy of an announcement?
I think they wanted people to ride the hype.
My personal
And
theory...
they horribly got it wrong.
My personal theory is they were hedging on Sony announcing what their decisions was going to be on DRM before then.
Yeah,
But they didn't, so they chickened out.
yeah. And they was doing a big awful
And
presentation.
then they accidentally split it in two and it became terrible.
Well, that's it. They ruined the chance they had to just show, like, this is a taste of what you're going to get at E3.
Well, the question over DRM is Microsoft had basically said, when you buy a game, it doesn't play off the disc at all, it installs onto your system.
Yeah.
But no one else can use that game.
No.
That's linked to
You
your
can't
system.
trade it in. Well, in fact, you could
The
trade
disc,
it in
once you've
from
installed
sales
it,
or whatever.
once you've installed it, the disc becomes irrelevant. You can bin it if you want to.
Yeah.
It's just a glorified way of getting digital content.
Yeah.
You could share the game with up to 10 people. As long as no one else is playing it, one of those 10 people could play it.
Yeah.
So it was sort of a irrelevant concept, really, because if you have a disc and you lend it to a friend, you can't play it. So
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
About the only advantage would have been you can lend it to someone on the other side of the world.
But then,
But that only applies to, what, a handful of people?
even then, I would have thought that they would have like done region lock on it, probably.
It did have region locking.
Maybe even for
So
sharing.
basically the push was to make the Xbox One digital.
Yeah.
The discs were an irrelevant thing, basically. I'm surprised they even bothered with the disc drive. If it had required always internet, why did they bother with the disc?
Yeah.
Would have made no difference.
Yeah.
There was rumours, though, that they were going to make a digital marketplace where you could resell your games digitally.
Yes.
But-
Well, that's what it was going to do instead of like that. But Microsoft would take a cut of that.
It was an attempt to kill the used games market.
Yeah.
Well, no, it wasn't an attempt to kill it. It was an attempt to give Microsoft control of it.
Yeah.
Which obviously everyone was very upset about because it's Microsoft. They're evil.
And that's it. And to be
They
honest,
eat babies.
as a gamer,
They eat babies.
As a gamer, the often times that we do go outside, we like to go to these used game shops and go, "Ooh, look at that! £3 for Bayonetta, best purchase I've ever bloody
Well,
done."
it's the whole question of is pre-owned good or bad for the industry. Obviously, all the publishers think it's bad because they make their money from new sales.
Yeah, but it's all. I think it's actually very good because people that couldn't afford these £40 games, let's
Well,
say,
that's the other side of it.
you know, the 12-year-olds that don't get a wage or any job seekers, and
Exactly.
they get an order money for a fiver. They go into a game, they buy a game, they go, "Oh my god, I love this game. I then love this developer. I then buy his other stuff when I'm grown up."
What it is there's this mentality in the games industry that if they got rid of pre-owned sales, everyone would buy new. Which
Yeah.
isn't true at all.
No.
People who buy new buy new. The people who buy pre-owned just wouldn't buy them.
Yeah, it's not like tempting other people to go, "Oh, check this game out, by the way."
Sorry to advertise another journalist on here, but Jim Sterling from Destructoid pointed out that you're a company. If you're there to make money, you depend on the customers. If
Yeah.
customers don't like you, they don't have a responsibility to keep you in business.
Exactly.
If they don't want to buy your new games, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
The reason being they're too expensive. They're not worth the money.
And the content's not got the value that
Exactly.
they'd hoped.
So there were some people defending Microsoft's new policy as, oh, well, it will make games cheaper. But there was absolutely no reason to think that.
Yeah.
Why would it make games cheaper? Would the publishers say, oh, well, we're making more money now, so we'll make them cheaper? No, they would just make more money.
Yeah.
Because they're a business.
Exactly.
That's what they do.
I mean, they are there to make money on top of that, so...
So basically Microsoft were trying to grab hold of the used games market,
Yeah.
restrict how you use your games. It was basically giving Microsoft control of your game library.
Yeah.
Which companies like, systems like Steam already sort of do. The thing is, they're optional. You don't have to use Steam.
Exactly, you can still go into...
If you don't want to
game,
buy from Steam, you can buy from GOG or Green Man.
or Direct to Drive, as
You've got no obligation.
Origin.
If Microsoft control it exclusively, that's sort of worrying. Monopolising.
Definitely. There always needs to be a choice. Even if
It
it's
does.
not even online, you should still be able to get a disc, pop it in and play.
So there was a lot of hullabaloo with Microsoft insisting that it's requirement, you can't get rid of this always online features.
Yeah.
It's how the system is designed. And we'll come back to that after we talked about the last E3 conference.
Yeah.
Where,
It's
which
like
was
change of
basically,
heart.
it was the last final E3 conference was obviously Sony, and it was a bit like, have you ever seen a giant guy just kicking a small man and kicking him and kicking him and kicking him?
While he's down.
Even though he cries for them to stop, but he just keeps kicking him. And yeah, basically, they made a massive point of rubbing Microsoft in the dirt.
Yeah. I mean, Microsoft needed this big slap to say, what the hell are you doing? We're going to take your whole fan base. See you later. So, cause,
Things like this haven't been seen since Sega would advertise saying how rubbish Nintendo is.
Yeah.
It was, they came out on stage and basically went, hello gamers, we like you gamers, no TV, no multimedia. That did come later in the show, but it was short. The point was gamers.
Yeah. So basically, Microsoft dug themselves in a ditch and Sony came and shat on it.
Yeah, I was trying to keep the swearing down on this one, but yeah, they shat on them.
Well, shat isn't a
They
swear.
pulled
it's
their
the
pants
eyes,
down
it's the
and they
difference.
shat upon them.
Yeah.
But they made a point with that. They announced loads of games for the PS3 and a little bit of the Vita. Microsoft has basically ditched the Xbox 360 at this point. Everything's on the Xbox One.
Well, yeah, that's the point. They did a rehash of the 360 to make it look like the Xbox One as
Mm.
well. As if to say, oh my god, a great design. No.
There was no... Basically, if you've got an Xbox 360, you're not getting any more games.
Yeah, basically.
From Microsoft, at least.
Mm.
But Sony said, oh yeah, we've got such great customers, you gamers out there, we're keeping it going. And then they announced, if you want to play a used game on the PS4, you just buy a used game.
Yeah.
The system's not changed
If
one
you want
bit.
to trade it to your friend, you just give it to your friend.
Yeah, they made a very patronising video for Microsoft saying, this is how you lend games. Thank you.
Yeah, just passing it to his mate.
Mm. So, yeah, Sony aren't changing at all.
Good though, I think very good.
It's very good, and it's also a smart move, because everyone agrees
Yeah.
digital's the future.
Yeah.
All they've got to do is wait, and the used game market will disappear anyway.
Well, yeah, everything is going to become online.
Everything will become digital.
Yeah.
Like music. Who buys CDs these days?
And that's it. And the best thing is that, music nowadays, it's like 59p a track, when it used to be £3 for a single.
That's the theory of how games will get cheaper. I don't think they would, because, it was Apple who forced the games to be cheaper. Microsoft wouldn't do that. Who forced the music to be cheaper, sorry. Can't see Microsoft doing that.
Yeah, good point.
But anyway, yeah, Sony has announced that and they just have to wait. Why the hell did Microsoft jump the gun and say we're going to force digital on people? They just had to wait.
Yeah.
It was like waiting for an old relative to die to leave you lots of money. You just wait for him to die, you don't have to off him.
Yeah.
He'll just
Microsoft
die.
comes in and offers it poison muffins.
And Microsoft runs in and presses a pillow to his face. So yeah, used games aren't an issue on the PS4. Publishers will be able to restrict them. But obviously,
Yes. But it's publisher choice then, so
that's the point.
they're
It's
removing the blame from themselves and
Yes.
then saying, well, EA want to do this.
EA is trying to repair their image at the moment, so
Well,
they won't.
But this is why I like them, because they're trying to do it. They're doing the U-turn on themselves with the whole SimCity DRM thing. They learn from their fans. I say fans. They learn from their mob. Currently.
From the blindly loyal, shall we say.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is, with that said, is this good or bad for competition? If Microsoft had stuck with their policy and Sony had stuck with their policy, would it have been competitive, or would Microsoft have just been blitzed?
I do believe Microsoft would have been blitzed, because it angered gamers at their heart because
It would have looked like the Sega Saturn and the PlayStation.
I'm pretty sure everyone started off with either lending games off the brothers, or
Lending brothers. Yo, homie, here's my brother. You give me your brother.
But yeah, either lending games to the brothers, little one, say, oh, you ever go with this, I'll lend it to you. Or even better, going to a game shop and going, oh, I've got 10 quid to spend on this new console.
Well, I actually have been staying with my family recently, and I used this very advanced form of game sharing where my brother said, can I play that game? And I went, yes, here's the disc. And we game shared for hours upon end.
Yeah. Future.
It's amazing. Well, the other speculative rumour is that Sony was undecided on its policies until the last minute.
Yeah.
So was it just a reaction to Microsoft sort of...
You can tell they definitely took advantage of Microsoft's...
They sure as hell took advantage of it, but...
But I think that's for the better as well, because...
Obviously, rumours about secret agreements
the
and
reaction
things.
to Microsoft's decision to do this DRM was a huge eye-opener for Sony to say, right, gamers have reacted badly for this, we're trying to get the gamers to follow us, here's what we need to do. The opposite of what they've just done.
Again, to draw parallels with Sega, they shot themselves in the foot, and Nintendo. When the first PlayStation came out, the first PlayStation didn't win because it was a good console. There was not that much difference between that and the Saturn and the N64.
Yeah.
It won because Nintendo and Sega got so arrogant that they killed themselves.
Exactly.
Nintendo annoyed all the third-party publishers.
Exactly.
Lost Square at the time, Squaresoft.
Yeah.
Lost all of them. And then Sega just died, basically.
Well, the best thing is it was Nintendo's arrogance that actually created Sony.
Well, exactly. Nintendo basically created their own downfall in a very Frankenstein kind of way.
Yeah, it was rather spectacular, the story of that.
That's basically... It's my theory, the cycle of threes. When you get to your third console, you become such an arrogant arse that you've killed yourself.
You see, but PlayStation 3 lost this console war, but towards the end, it was outselling every other console.
It picked up, but initially
it was
the
terrible.
arrogance. They shot themselves in the foot.
They said, okay, here you are, developers, develop this on this 8-core system that costs 500 quid.
Console developers get into this mentality that they are the industry. They're not. They're part of the industry.
Yeah. They are literally the medium from which publishers get to showcase the stuff to gamers.
Nintendo believed it could shout down the third-party publishers and they'd have to publish on them because they were Nintendo.
Yeah.
They were powerful. They weren't. They went to Sony.
That's it. They had the momentum and they tried to...
Sega thought they could just botch together a system and people would have to release for it. They didn't. They just botched the system.
Yeah.
It never changes.
And people will always capitalise on their mistakes. So like PlayStation made it easy to develop for use CDs, common format in that time.
PlayStation steamrolled them basically.
Yeah.
There was no competition. The
And
N64
then-
was a beautiful system, but it was not.
But like I say,
no
Nintendo
one
spent 2 generations recovering that loyalty back from its customers and from the
Sega
wider
just
world.
died.
And Sega, like you say, died and become just a publisher.
After its beautiful Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Sorry, just give me a moment to light a candle for it.
And violin.
So yeah, Microsoft, I'd say it's just Sony have capitalised on their stupidity, basically. I'd love to say Microsoft weren't stupid and there was some clever calculation to it, but my gut tells me they were just stupid. I think they were betting on Sony to do the same thing they did.
I bet they were. I bet they were thinking that Sony would follow them because they had the edge. In terms of...
Not even that, I think they were just betting on the publishers, forcing them to.
Yeah. Yeah, they would say, okay, publishers, here's all your money, but we're going to take control of it.
Here's another thing that I've wondered about though. Microsoft is not a games console developer. It's
What?
Well, it's not strictly a games console developer, is it?
Oh,
it's
right. It's a division.
powerhouse.
Yeah.
Microsoft got a lot of flack for the last 10 years or so for not embracing online.
Yeah.
Obviously it used to be the biggest company ever. It got shot down by Facebook, YouTube, Amazon, Apple. They embraced the online.
Yeah.
Was this just Microsoft desperately saying, look, we're online now, love us, love us, love us? I think there's an element to it.
Definitely. I'm thinking of Microsoft as a whole now. I'm thinking how terrible Windows 8 is for us. You personally like it, but the fact that
I like it.
done a
It
U-turn
wasn't
on
necessary.
start bar. Yeah.
It's
If you've got a computer with a mouse, why do we need a touch screen?
I think they're trying to become Apple. They think if they're arrogant
That's
about
a good
it,
point,
if they're
yes.
arrogant about their products, they'll sell.
Yeah.
That works for Apple because...
Well, Apple's products managed to capture cool element of it that is very hard to do for a technology thing.
Apple was straight up in your face though. It was, this is what this is. It's £500.
Yeah, it was cool to
buy
own an
it-
iPod, not geeky to own an
Yeah.
iPod, which was a very, very split decision for Apple that became the dominant force for ages.
I think there's definitely Microsoft politics behind this decision.
Yeah. But see, again, Apple have fallen again because of their arrogance of creativity. So a lot of people are saying, okay, we can't make this for the Apple Store, let's make it for Android. And then the Android market has just absolutely boomed since because it's got a lot more going for it.
True, but then you get into the whole question of, is it better to have tons and tons of stuff or just quality
Choice
stuff?
is brilliant.
Yeah. Anyway, we've got rather off track there. Back to the Sony conference.
Yeah.
What PS4 games did we see? A new Infamous, which is very nice.
Yeah, there was that
Very
London
emo,
game.
wasn't it? Very emo, the new Infamous.
Well, it
A
was...
Nirvana track and beanie hats. I mean, I'm not saying it
But
was
come
a
on,
light... It
a
wasn't...
big rocket-propelled flame version wing thing.
Well, it was never light-hearted before, but yeah, it's certainly taken a turn for the Starbucks worker.
Yeah, definitely.
And what else do we see? Killzone, which looks very colourful.
Yeah, you were very surprised at that, weren't you?
I was stunned. I mean, I don't like generic grey-brown FPSs, and Killzone was the greyest and
Was it
browniest
Greys of
FPS
War?
of all. It was. It was based on World War II, basically, so it looked like a World War II game.
Yeah.
It was grey and miserable and dull, and now it's just beautiful. It looks like Crysis.
Yeah.
Beautiful colour.
Luckily now the grey colour has mainly sold on box rather than on games, so games have decided to shackle off that mature look and try and make things a bit more
now
vibrant.
you can buy 50 Shades of Grey and publish.
We don't need it in games anymore, it's already in the book.
Anyway, what else do we see?
Well, for PlayStation 4, there's that racing game, weren't there? To try and say,
Well,
Forza's not the only one.
I don't like racing game trailers because, from what I could tell from that trailer, it's definitely a racing game.
Yeah.
There's cars in it, and
Mind
they go
you,
quite quickly.
You can't exactly do anything else with the racing
You
game.
can't, but that's what. Well, if it was something like Burnout,
Well, mind you, that's a good point. Mario Kart say, look, we can fly and look, we can anti-gravity.
if it was something like Burnout, you'd see a car smash through about 10 other cars and then a huge mushroom cloud in the distance.
Yeah.
Or if it was Need for Speed, you'd see auto log update.
Yeah.
That just showed cars.
That's a good point, because with the popularity of Fast and Furious, Need for Speed's got itself a good footing.
I can't believe they set the new film in London. That's ridiculous.
Really?
What are they going to do? Sit in a traffic jam for 4 hours? Like, Oh no, we've got
Please
to
pay the congestion
we've got
charge.
to pay the congestion charge as we drive through Westminster. Bloody hell! If we
Imagine that, just seeing Vin Diesel angry on the phone. Yes, my number plate does end in 56.
If you wanted a proper one, you'd have it set in Bradford. Tell you it's a death trap for cars there. Can't go around the corner without. Anyway, off the Fast and Furious, back to Sony.
Yeah. What was that game called? The one that wasn't
Drive
Gran
Club.
Turismo. Drive Club. Thank you.
We saw Gran Turismo 6 for the PS3, which, regain your crown, Sony. Jesus, that was a bit embarrassing with GT5.
GTA.
With
Always makes
GT5
sense.
was a little bit of an
Always do.
embarrassment, I've got to say.
Yeah.
You could understand it if it come out like a few years ago, but 5 years in development?
Nothing really to show for it, just...
It was a bit of a Duke Nukem, I think.
Yeah. But it didn't take forever, just 5 years. Just a long time. Anyway,
But
we had the London shooty game.
London shooting game?
There was like 18...
The steampunk game, 1880...
1882, I think.
84, I thought.
Ah.
18 something. Anyway,
Well-
the point is, we don't know what the game is, we've no idea what the gameplay is like. It involves steampunk, Victorian shooting,
And London.
and very importantly, it's made by Ready at Dawn, who, shut up and take my money, I love Ready at Dawn. They made the best PSP games imaginable.
Yeah.
If you played a really solid PSP game, I think Daxter, any of the God of Wars, Ready
Yeah,
at
by
Dawn
then.
made it.
Yeah.
Basically, it's Naughty Dog, but not. Like Free Radical were to Rare.
Yeah, so they had like a lot of developers from it. Made their own studio. Well, like Reborn, Rebirth with Titanfall.
Yeah, Respawn.
Respawn. 2 out of 3 and I got them both wrong. Brilliant.
Rebirth. Yeah, basically it's born from the ashes of an old team at
Yeah.
Naughty Dog.
Basically.
So that should be good. We've no idea what it is, but I'm sure
It does look interesting and cool and
And,
gun shooty and
I think
all
the
that.
coup d'etat for the for me personally, the of the Sony conference, they love indie developers. They love them.
Yes.
Microsoft had tried to show how much it loves indie developers, but
With Minecraft and...
yeah, they've got a lot of stick from indie developers at Microsoft, whereas Sony
Yeah.
were just like, look, there's an indie developer playing his new game. Look, there's another one. Look, there's the guy who made Oddworld. Oddworld.
He's
An
back.
Oddworld remake, and which they made a deliberate point of rubbing into Microsoft's face with. I must admit.
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to self-publish on a games console? You can on ours, Microsoft. Hint, hint.
Yeah, definitely. And I even loved how when the PlayStation 3 conference first came out, there was total embarrassment with the giant enemy crab, and they even made a fun
They made a
reference
joke
to
about
mocking
that.
themselves.
Not that this conference didn't have its broken points. The
Oh,
fact that
definitely.
Assassin's Creed kept pausing and glitching.
Assassin's Crash.
That was a terrible, terrible pun.
Black screen.
I
Not black
I
flag.
can't work with this guy. Yeah.
It's all about the puns.
Yeah, they showed off the new Assassin's Creed game and it just bugged out, basically.
But what was shown of it was very good.
It did look very good, but I don't feel sorry for the
It's
guy
like
who was
Assassin-
playing it on stage.
Yeah, of
And
all.
then the two guys who had to come out and speak about it afterwards.
Well, mind you, as embarrassing as that was, I felt sorry for the Battlefield guy for the Xbox One. Where
Yeah, it started with no sound.
no sound, and you could just hear a reporter laughing manically in the audience.
Did you really need the sound, though, to hear the sound of overblown trumpets and gunfire? That's all it would have been. It would have been...
Well, that's for Call of Duty and everything else. Battlefield has always held very high respect to me, and its audio, it's absolutely fantastic. When a rocket goes next to you in all the Battlefields, it goes whoop whoop. It's just the most.
That doesn't sound like a sound
amazing.
design at all. It sounds like Zoidberg. Whoop whoop.
No, but it is really, really cool sound. When you hear that in your headphones, it's on your own, it's like, oh my god, sound. Brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Basically, the Sony one went off without a hitch, and then the final, you know, how should I put this? The final part of waving their cock in Microsoft's face. The price is very cheap compared to the Xbox.
Yes.
It's still not cheap, I've got to say.
But, like you say again, when your console's $100 cheaper than the next one, offers pretty much
It's
the same
$100
thing.
cheaper. It's about £70 cheaper, but that's still quite inflated compared to the American.
Well, we're just annoyed
cost.
at the inflation rate between currencies more than anything. Because
I think there's more to it than that. The inflation rate is not that high.
Oh yeah, the VAT as well. Sorry.
The well, how much is a dollar worth? It's about 70p or something.
I don't know.
Not
I'd have to go on
yeah,
XE,
it's not
but at the time, I remember someone doing
there's
a
more.
comment that
There's more to it than
Yeah.
just inflation.
a $500 Xbox is worth £333, and they were charging $429.
Well, hey, just think of
Yeah.
it this way: if the apocalypse happens and America and China go to war, we'll be able to buy them very cheap because the economy will crash.
That's a good point.
Come on, China!
But no,
we're waiting on
no,
you.
no, we do not want a war. Just on Titanfall.
Coward. Anyway, we spent years playing Red Alert in preparation for this, and now you're backing out.
Should we do Hell March?
I've got my giant squid platoon all ready to go. As soon as those Chinese appear, I'm going to pull them to the depths.
Just rocket ears to me. Spam rocket ears.
Anyway, back to the subject. Yeah, the PS4 is going to be a hell of a lot cheaper than the Xbox One.
Yeah. Which,
To which the Xbox One
in this climate,
Oh.
will matter.
To which the Microsoft executives very flakily said, "We're giving you better value."
Yeah, if it's $100 cheaper, £70, it's the difference of buying a console with nothing and a console with 2 games.
Well, the other thing is anyone going to buy them anyway? Because we've had 2 new console releases recently, well, 3 in fact, and none of them sold very well, and they've all released in the recession time. The 3DS, the Vita, the Wii U, tanked. Recovered, but tanked initially.
The 3DS is now selling quite well.
Is now selling quite well, but compared to
Initially, it
compared
was
to
terrible
how the
because
DS
it
sold
was-
in boom time,
Well, yeah, but
when people had money to throw away because we all lived in a paradise of money and free
the
houses.
DS was cheap, fun, and everything was coming out for it. The 3DS,
It wasn't unlike your
not so
mum.
much. She just made you a cheese on toast.
Insider information there, behind the scenes. Dewey's mum makes cheese on toast.
And
Sorry, it
then
was a bad
eats
joke. It had to be said.
My own mum.
I apologise.
Yeah.
Jim. let me put on the record. Dewey's mum's lovely.
Yes, she is. Right, where are we going to go from
If
there?
you'd like to buy a T-shirt featuring Dewey's mum, go to VGN.com.
Yeah, £60, andLl draw it myself.
Well, with this, you'll have saved £70 when you buy an Xbox, a PS4
Yeah,
instead of an
good
Xbox
point.
One anyway. So you'll be able to roll
So,
them.
buy the PS4 and my T-shirts.
Yes. In fact, if you were to go to the Oldham branch of blah blah blah, you get a free T-shirt of Dewey's mother.
Yeah, we saw open up shop soon then.
Well, we've not gone to them and said, listen, we've got a great exclusivity deal with our amazing website yet, so don't worry, when I get a job there, I'll sort something out.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So that was the end of the E3 conferences. It seemed, in all honesty, like the PS4 was going to absolutely spank the Xbox One.
Yep.
And then something happened.
Something strange. But seriously, there's been so many of them now. I'm just like,
Microsoft
it's a norm.
Came out on their official website and said, you know all that promise of game sharing and digital only? Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Massive U-turn.
We've just
like David Cameron.
Have just looked,
like Windows 8.
Very much politics, isn't it? Basically,
it is.
They've looked at their pre-order figures and gone, oh,
yeah,
we better do something about this.
Oh, the internet's imploded with our embarrassment. Well, let's try and fix that.
Whether or not they've succeeded, we'll come to later. But basically, it now functions exactly like the Xbox 360.
But that's the difference. Microsoft have decided to go back on their own arrogance, where in the period of, Sony and Nintendo, not everything was online still. Online was still getting to the point of its social media self. Well, now Microsoft had an immediate response of saying everyone fucking hates it. So they decided, oh god, no one's going to buy this console. Whereas the other consoles in that time didn't have the same hindsight. They just thought, oh, our decision must be good. No one's saying anything bad about it.
Basically, they've binned all the restrictions.
Yes.
You can now do what you like with your game. You can't play the game without the disc now, though.
Yes.
Which, good.
And it's not region locked, which is very interesting. I thought they would have kept that.
Well, they've obviously added that for some bizarre reason using the digital storefront, because Blu-rays are naturally region free.
Oh.
So...
Oh yeah, it's using Blu-ray.
It is quite surprisingly using Blu-ray, thanks to that little beep there on the...
That's not Facebook!
The staff Facebook, of course.
We're getting messages all the time from you lovely viewers.
Yes, from Microsoft saying thank you for showing us the truth about our system.
We're going to change our ways.
Yes. Think of it as sort of a religious awakening. Anyway, so they've been that, and now it will function much like that. And the internet had an interesting reaction. We had
it was more of a alright then.
Well, we had people going, phew, thank Christ for that.
Yeah.
We had people going, you've lost my trust already.
Yeah.
And we had idiots going, oh, but now it's going to be just like the old system was. What was the point of having a new console?
That's a brilliant impression of whatever that was.
I'm an anonymous internet user, and I disagree with everything.
Hey, I'm an anonymous internet user, and I do not speak that. Oh, it's happening.
Yeah, basically it was people saying that, oh, Microsoft controlling all our games wouldn't have been a bad thing because it's the future. It's digital.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I've seen Blade Runner. Evil corporations will control the world anyway, so what does it matter? Okay, so it does matter. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's not... Technically, when you buy a game, you buy a license to the game, and that's yours. You're not allowed to do anything else with it. But unofficially, shut up, it's yours. You bought it. You can do what you like with it.
You spent 40 quid of your own hard-earned money.
No film studio is going to come round and tell you you're not allowed to lend that DVD to someone.
Yeah.
It's technically, it's not allowed.
I blast my now whatever number it is out my windows, and everyone can hear it outside.
As you can tell, at VGN we're pretty down with our music.
Yes.
Now 40 whatever.
40 whatever. It's like 87 now.
You like a bit of M&M's and MCP pants? Yes.
But yeah, definitely a band check out. Anna Managuchi. Amazing, by the way. Just a free plug for them there. Awesome.
Isn't that Spanish for asparagus?
No, it's Japanese for amazing game music.
Let's stop advertising and get back to it, yeah. Basically, the internet had its usual balance of morons, sensible people, and distrustful people. Whether or not it pays off for Microsoft in the long run, we'll see. Yeah. And we still don't know if how the publishers will react to it. Did the publishers make Microsoft do it?
That's a good point, because some publishers might go, but we wanted DRM-free. We get that choice on PlayStation.
Yes, that's true. But then again, you've got some who wanted the DRM.
Yeah.
So what will they do? I mean, for Activision it's not a problem because they sell 100 trillion bazillion copies of Call of Duty anyway.
Yeah.
For EA...
I mean, they could make that game only available to the people of the Himalayas, and 50 million people would go there to buy it.
I would... A lot of people pissed about saying Sony caused this, but I say people caused this. The consumers did. If no one had
You
gone...
can't blame them. Better us.
I'm praising them.
Oh. Well done, us.
They caused this. They said, we're not going to buy an Xbox One because of its restrictive policies. If it was up to the publishers, they would have only released games for the Xbox One, but they wouldn't have sold anything.
Yeah.
Because no one would buy one. So a lot of people have said it's a victory for Sony. It's not. It's a victory for the gamer.
Yeah. Power to the people.
Communist.
Is that what that communist means?
I'm not here to debate politics. Afterwards, I'll get out the overhead projector and I'll teach you about Marxism.
Is that something in...
It's when you shop at TK Maxx every day.
Where?
Marxism.
Ah. And on that note, we shift over to the... Ooh.
You can't see this at home, folks, but Dewey just looked at me in a case of absolute really.
I don't know what any of that means.
You know what TK Maxx is?
I know what TK Maxx is, but I don't know any communist party that supports it.
I remember you had to pretend to be a communist at college, you faker.
I did.
Yes. And you were lousy at it. Anyway, back to the case.
The ooh, I know
The
what we're talking
ooh yeah. Ooh yeah.
The ooh, I don't know. How to
The
pronounce
Android crowd-funded system. Let's call it that.
that. 99 quid.
The ACFS. The Android crowd-funded system.
Is that what it's called?
No, it's called the Ooh yeah.
Well,
Oh yeah.
right,
Ooh
yes, yeah.
Ooh yeah.
But yeah, 99 quid.
It was a console crowd-funded on Kickstarter to be basically an Android thing you hook up to your TV.
Yeah, which is a very cool idea, because Android's got a lot going for it at the moment, you know, and I wouldn't mind to have some of my phone games up on the big screen.
The question is, can you release basically a hackable system? Would people buy games off the marketplace, or would they just hack them? This game is...
Right, it's very divided, just like the Android market. I mean, Android obviously currently has its flaws with the whole sort of...
Android doesn't have the same games amount and things that the iStore does.
Yeah.
Because people can pirate it too easily.
Yeah.
It's a
lot of people are.
wretched hive of scum and villainy out there on the Android market.
It is, but it is also one full of creativity as well at the same time.
The problem with the initial reviews for the Ouya at least is that quality is not there.
Yeah.
So,
But it's got the potential to do it. But one of the main problems at the moment, obviously, is the people that funded it through Kickstarter actually haven't received their consoles due to an unfortunate event with the distributor.
many of them have, but apparently quite a few of them have turned up in second-hand stores already.
Oh yeah, there will
There
be.
seems to be a lot of people upset that they
expected
funded-
a game console and they got a phone.
They funded an Android system you hook up to your TV, and they got an Android system you hook up to your TV. There was this idea that it would be like a PlayStation that you could hack.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was never going to be. For $99, it was never going to be.
I got $99, but the OUA isn't one. Oh,
Like
God.
I said, we're pretty down with the music here at VGM. Why, only last week I was listening to some of those Rolling Rocks.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so criticism of its build quality as well, but it's $99.
It's that little diddy thing. I like that. I thought, pop that in your, in your sleeve.
It's got
You
a very
can-
strange way to put the batteries into the controller, though.
Has it?
It's like you have to rip. Imagine an Xbox.
Rip?
Imagine an Xbox controller.
We have one here.
We do, but the people at home can't see that, so I'm trying to describe
That's a
it.
very good point.
Down the side, on each handle,
Yes.
and up to the buttons and the stick, you've
Yes.
got panels. You have to rip those off and put a battery in either side.
Ooh.
So there's one battery in each bit you hold, basically.
Yeah.
The problem with that is when you press a button down, if the first plate's not on properly, it stays in.
Ah.
Other than that, it is basically an Xbox controller.
Right.
And you can use Xbox and PS3's controllers with the Ouya.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a question about, is it really possible to make something for $99?
Alright, but like you say, it's got the whole Android marketplace on there, and I think that some...
It doesn't actually have the entire Android marketplace. It has
The
the
games.
Ouya marketplace, but people can sideload.
Yeah, definitely. So you can have all the Android things on there.
You can do it if you know your stuff. If you're just a casual buyer, you might have a problem.
I think most Android people will be able to find out quite easily just going on the internet anyway.
True, but that means the system isn't going to sell to little Timothy from down the road or your gran.
Yeah, which is what it's in a sense aimed for. It's supposed to be like a budget sort of
It's
console.
basically a cracked system you can have an Xbox style controller on. So if you put emulators and stuff on it, great.
Well, not great. Illegal, but yeah.
There's nothing technically illegal about putting an emulator up for sale. Playing ROMs on it.
Yeah, this is how they're getting...
It's clearly what it's
getting
designed
around
for, though, isn't it? There's no
beating
doubts
around the
about
bush. They have made comments before that it's like...
It's an emulation device / homebrew system.
Yeah.
That's what it's for.
But like you say, I mean, as much as hacked as it will also get some absolute gems by homebrew, like you say, people that have designed to say, well, I know, I'm going to make my own game now. With no restrictions at all.
It's going to be a waiting game, basically.
Yeah. Definitely
There's
want to
definitely
watch.
not a killer app out for it yet, and there probably won't be for a while. Most of what's on there is a port of a phone.
Yeah, what you can get on your phone already. But, like I say...
the supposed advantage is it's got a control pad.
I would love to see Real Racing 3 on an actual telly, because seeing it on my phone, you just think, wow.
I don't know if the UEO is powerful enough to run it, though. It doesn't seem to be.
Well, $99, you expect they put some sort of good graphics chip in there.
Still, that $99 goes into the controller and the wires and the connection ports and everything. That's
Well, it's about 50 quid.
And
then,
licensing and things. That's actually.
well, that's a good point, because like you
much
said, the S3, it's powerful enough to run it. It's 500 quid
and
retail.
the company that builds them isn't going to see any profit from the games.
Yeah.
Because it's an open system, so they have to either make or break even on
The console
the
sales.
console itself.
So they'll probably, the markup.
There's probably about realistically 70 to 80 quid's worth of hardware in there.
Yeah.
That's being generous.
Yeah.
It might be less than that. So.
Mind you, like you said, they got half the
it
funding
runs
from
on
crowdsourcing, so it's technically not really had to put much money to it themselves.
But to be sustainable, though, they're going to have to either make profit or break even.
Yeah, definitely.
And that includes labour costs,
Yeah.
building
Marketing,
materials,
customer support.
So it's all wait and see on the UEO. I think. I would say don't rush out to buy one just yet. Then
Right.
again, people said about the Dreamcast. Poor Dreamcast.
It's alright.
Come
Like
back,
that is.
Dreamcast. Come back.
And on that slightly depressing note about the Dreamcast, we're probably going to end this podcast, number 2.
Well, surely there's something else. No, there's nothing. Nothing else has happened.
We just thought we'd just do the big hit E3 and the...
Consider this our
UEO.
sort of apology for disappearing for so long.
Yeah.
Isn't that right, Dewey? With
The-
those other podcasts.
We'll go into that in another podcast when Nads has had quite a lot more beer, probably.
I've already had quite a few. That's not the point. Would you like a strawberry?
No, I'm alright, thank
You
you.
could tell with Fisco, we're having strawberries and cream.
And on that note, we're going to end now.
We're so posh.
Well, it's Wimbledon, actually, isn't it?
Yes,
So,
yes.
quite convenient that we have strawberries.
We sit and watch World of Warcraft in the way one will watch Wimbledon with our strawberries and cream, sat next to the Queen.
Yeah, come on, Frau.
You didn't think that through,
No,
did you?
no.
Come on, Gromhellscream. I don't even play World of Warcraft and I knew that better than you.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something that would like mirror, and I was like, well, there isn't.
Come on, Marsupial.
Marsupial. Right. Anyway, thank you very much for listening, folks.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
Please visit videogamesnetwork.co.uk, at VGN Magazine on Twitter, and on YouTube and Facebook /VGN Magazine.
If you have any complaints, don't bother sending them because
If you have any ideas on how we can become better, and if you want any of us to review anything specific or talk about anything specific, please give us a shout through the website. Thanks very much for listening, and
thank you very much to the cider companies of Tesco for helping us get through this.
yeah, goodbye, guys.
Ta-ra.